Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back from the MLG studios. You're watching WCS America Round of 16 live in studio, and I have next to me the handsome and the powerful Alicia, who just took down his opponent 2-1. Congratulations, you know, a hard-fought series for sure. Let's go through the games. Let's talk about Whirlwind first, where your opponent took a hatchery, you know, kind of close to you, and then you went for the Void Rays. Was that a planned-out strategy, and did you kind of expect that from Sen? Did you expect the way he played?
일단 축하드리고요. 승자조로 진출한 거에 대해서 게임 얘기를 조금 하고 싶은데, 첫 번째 돌개바람 맵에서 센 선수가 해처리를 좀 부하장을 좀 양준식 선수 근처에다 지었어요. 그래서 공으로 갔는데 그 계획대로 원래 그 빌드를 짜온 건가요? 공으로 가는 게?
일단 해처리가 센 선수가 제 위치를 확인을 못한 것 같았어요. 그래서 그쪽에 있는 걸 확인하자마자 그리고 그냥 즉흥적인 거였어요. 바퀴를 좀 생산해서 히드라 리스크가 좀 늦을 거라고 확신해서 한 플레이.
Yeah, I thought like Stan didn't scout me well enough. That's why he had the hatcheries close to me. So I just thought of it and I went to Void Ray, and he had a lot of roaches, so I knew that he will have a hydra risk late on the game. It's gonna be late, so I went to Void Ray so that I could actually harass in the beginning.
Definitely worked out well, and then leading into game 2 on Belshir Vestige, we saw a style from Sen that's become fairly common as far as the Massling upgrades, the fast ultralisks. Have you seen this strategy a lot, and what normally do you do against it, and what kind of went wrong in that game in your opinion?
두 번째 게임 이제 벨시리 잔재로 가면은 이제 초반에는 저글링으로 이제 좀 견제를 하다가 그 뒤에 이제 바로 울트라 테크로 넘어가서 거기서 이제 자연스럽게 이제 엄청 이제 부유하게 하면서 이제 게임을 하는 건데, 이런 스타일을 평소에는 겪어보시나요? 그리고 또 이번 두 번째 게임에서 어떻게 뭐가 잘못이 됐나요?
사실은 GSTL 때 연습을 그 소울키 선수랑 했었어요. 그 선수랑도 하면서 당해봤던 전략이었고, 근데 제가 확인을 못해서 대처를 못한 것 같아요. 확인만 했다면 충분히 대처가 가능한데 그냥 울트라 리스크만 모아서 올 줄 알고 수비만 한 게 패배의 요인 같아요.
Yes, when I was practicing for GSTL, Solky from Wongjin Stars gave me a lot of practice, and he did this same kind of build. If I knew it earlier, I could actually defend it better, but I didn't know, and I didn't exactly knew. I was only expecting Ultra League. I think that was the reason why I lost the second game.
All right, and of course, going into game 3, which is on Cloud Kingdom, you kind of broke out a Void Ray strategy again. What went into that decision, and were you at any point worried in that game that you would potentially lose?
세 번째 경기는 다시 첫 번째 경기와 마찬가지로 공으로 이제 시작을 이제 열어줬는데, 첫 번째 경기처럼 다시 이길 줄 아는 확신이 들었나요? 공으로 가면서?
공허 포격기가 상당히 좀 좋은 유닛이라 어느 정도 승리는 예상하고 있었는데 그 넥서스가 계속 취소되는 바람에 더 이상 운영을 하면은 좀 이길 수가 없을 것 같아서 이제 올인 공격을 시도했어요. 무조건 먹힐 줄 알고 있었어요. 그런 사이즈.
The Void Rays are really good units, and I had the confidence on the Void Rays. And also, I had to cancel Nexus several times, so if I go on the late games, I knew that I couldn't win. But I also knew that if I could actually finish off with the Void Rays, then I could finish off, so I had to take the chance.
All right, well, it definitely worked out. The chance worked, and you're now in the winner's match, so congratulations once again. Coming up next, guys, we're going to have Snoot versus Alicia in the winner's match, but first, I'm going to throw it over to Nick, who has some analysis of that match.
Thank you for the interview, Alex, and thank you for your words about the strategy you used, Alicia. Alicia pointed out how he thought Void Rays were great units. We're going to take a look at the first game where they were instrumental and part of his victory and break down exactly why Alicia won that first map on Whirlwind. So one thing that I noticed very early on is that Sen actually went for the 3 hatchery before gas opening against the Gateway Expand, and that puts Sen in a position where he knew his Zerging speed would be up much later than Warp Gate, which meant it would be very difficult to defend proxy pylons and gateway units with just speedlings, so he had to build the Roach Horn early. And this puts him in a position where even early on at 34 drones, he's already building a lot of military units because he's afraid there might be a big gateway timing. He knows there's already a couple gateways in the front, and Alicia could be committing much more behind that. He wasn't quite able to scout that Stargate, so that led him into position where coming to the mid game, nothing but units coming out of Sen. And of course, that means that, yes, this little gateway aggression is going to be shut down, but while this gateway aggression is going on, Alicia actually has more economy than Sen. So even though these Zealots aren't trading, amazingly, they're still doing an okay job, and Sen's worker count is not really where he wants it to be. Then going forward, of course, he sees the Phoenix, but the Void Ray is hidden, and this is very, very important. The longer that Sen doesn't know Void Rays are in action, the more vulnerable this base becomes to that Void Ray counterattack. One awesome thing to do is Protoss. If you're going teching a lot, you're getting Void Rays, you know your opponent has a bunch of early units, you can do something where it's kind of like a win-win situation. And what I mean by that is you take your third when you know you can't defend it. You go ahead and just build that third nexus down at the bottom. The important thing, though, don't send your sentries to this third location. That's exactly what Alicia does. He says, all right, I'll take the third base. Two possibilities. He sends all his units to kill it. That means he basically didn't drone that heavily. He has all these early units, and I get some free unit kills. And as long as I don't lose too much, it's only costing me 100 minerals to cancel this nexus and rebuild it. Of course, if he had his sentries here, he doesn't want to lose those sentries, and ideally if this probe stayed live, he would have just immediately restarted nexus and been in great shape. I think he lost one sentry here to this roach attack, but still a great position for Alicia. Yes, you lose the third base, but losing the third base isn't that big a deal if you maintain your army and you can just restart that third immediately. And this is the key situation right now, this 3 Void Ray Mothership hit squad. A very powerful combination because there's a couple options. Maybe your opponent did some crazy tech, cut mass drones, and was able to get roaches and hydras out in time, and the hydras on creep could potentially run down to Void Rays. Or maybe they're doing a mass counterattack with like roaches and speedings to your natural, and you run out of force fields. That's why you had the Mothership Core with these 3 Void Rays. You can recall them back if needed. And of course, 3 Void Rays is a key number to take down a Spore Core and a Queen with taking very minimal damage. 2 Void Rays and a Mothership Core can do it, but you're going to take a lot of damage, and they might have time to bring in the reinforcements to protect that hatchery. So a beautiful move here by Alicia to take down his hatchery, and now he's in a position where he's ahead. He knows his opponent made roaches early, not a whole ton of econ. Then he shows all these Void Rays, and Sen, if he wants to, he doesn't have the econ to really tech aggressively to Vipers or other units that are really effective against Void Rays, he has to go Roach Hydra based on how he opened the game. And that's a perfect situation for Protoss. If you know your opponent's on Roach Hydra, all you have to think about hitting the force fields well. Sen knows this as well, says, okay, I cannot let him have a good economy. If he has enough gas to get sentries and Void Rays, I'm going to be in big trouble. So he goes for this third base. And right now what he needs to do, he needs to devote everything to canceling the third base, recognizing that, okay, killing a few probes is nice, but my opponent's going to have a lot of probes, and if I kill the Nexus, those probes will be worthless anyway for the next few minutes. The other thing he needs to realize is that, okay, attacking the army, if I can pick off sentries, great, but with all these Void Rays in the sky, it's going to be hard to take out these sentries. Maybe I can get a few kills, but really I need to kill the Nexus. The few momentary hesitations he has all of a sudden make this a much, much more close position. And, you know, yes, he gets a couple sentries, but unfortunately, as we see here, unable to finish a Nexus, again, puts Alicia with another advantage. And now going forward, Sen stuck basically on 3 base Zerg against 3 base Protoss, with Roach Hydra against Void Ray Sentry. And this is the key position for Alicia. Of course, he's going to see if he can cancel another third base here. And he realizes he can't do it, and he sees all the Hydras in play, backs away and says, okay, my opponent is not teching aggressively. He's going Hydras. All I have to do is pick the right spot to defend and hit force fields well. And this is what decides the game. Again, Sen's stuck in a position where, because he didn't kill the third earlier, he has to kill the third now. And what's so awesome is the position that Alicia chooses to defend in. So first his units run forward a little bit and engage. And if we talk about this exact positioning here, one thing we can take a look at is, from this positioning, how can he hit force fields to really fight half the Hydras or a third of the Hydras at once? That's his goal here. And he might be able to do it with some crazy force fields. Maybe if he hits like one here, one here, one here, and one here, he might be able to segment off a few Hydras. But with the type of concave that that Sen has here, it's very difficult to get that technique to work. So what he's going to do, he's going to back up to a better defensive spot. We can see that here. Instead of having fighting the great concave of roaches, what he chooses to do, he chooses to back up here, and all of a sudden, Sen's stuck in a position where half his roaches go in each direction. And what we can see is all of a sudden right here, he has a choice. What I can do is hit the force fields right here, so these roaches aren't in the battle. Now, the important thing to recognize is the whole point of this force field series is to take these roaches out of the battle. Now, a lot of Protoss will do force fields like this, and then their army, they'll just A-move it in, and all these units will kind of attack in this direction, and these Hydras will then attack the Protoss army, and the force fields are basically worthless. But what Alicia does is he understands why he put the force fields there. He is his all planned out micro, and so he puts his army, he makes sure that nothing is in this death zone. Nothing's in that zone, everything is in this area. And as long as his Protoss army stays below this red line, these Hydralisks are all worthless. So if you actually take a look at exactly how he micros this, notice this. He then manually controls his units down a bit, right? He sees these Hydras start attacking, so he pulls them back. He killed these Hydras, and he avoided fighting these ones. And then again, the next engagement, we're going to fast forward it again. We see the exact same thing happen, right? He looks at the trap. He tries to pick off a couple Hydras, backs away, doesn't want to chase into the concave. And again, he engages, puts force fields here, says, okay, I'm going to kill a few Hydras, send backs away. And then again, when Singh comes in for yet one more final attack, in just a few minutes we'll see that. Just times 8 it, there we go. This last attack here, the same thing. This is a force that could beat Alicia if the force fields aren't quite right. But Alicia, he comes out, Sens trying to get him to overcommit. And this engagement again, right? The force fields, which side do they trap? Quickly, Alicia can say, okay, these roaches here are stuck. So I want to make sure these roaches I stay away from. So I'm going to keep my army away from this zone right here. So these roaches can't fight. And that's exactly what he's going to do. We're actually just going to play this on a slow speed and take a look at this. And look at how he controls his army. He keeps it away from this line. In fact, what he does is he pulls it up this way, right? He always keeps him out of that kill zone. So he's always able to fight just a few Hydras at a few times. That key force field micro is what allowed Alicia to take this game convincingly. Voiders and Sentries do beat the Hydralisks if they're micro correctly, and Alicia did that with this masterful precision. This wraps up analysis of the Whirlwind game. We're going to go back to Alex for an interview with your next match.
Thanks a lot, Nick. Great analysis as always, guys. Coming up next, we're going to have the winner's match. Of course, the winner is going to move on to the round of 8. I got Snoot and Alicia next to me. Time to ask them some questions. Snoot, I'm going to start with you. Were you able to watch much of that last series of Alicia?
Yeah, all of it. Yeah.
So what do you think? What are your thoughts going into this series?
Gotta look out for Void Race, I guess. Apart from that, yeah, I'm not gonna say too much.
Okay, no, that's perfectly fine. Obviously, this could be a very big moment for you in Norway. How are you feeling? Are you still a little nervous? How is that working out for you? Are you feeling a little bit better as these games continue forward?
Maybe a little bit, but still feeling quite nervous, always.
Well, best of luck to you, of course. Alicia, you're facing off against Snoot in this winner's match. You know, how prepared are you for him? How much research have you been able to do leading into this this match, this group?
스누트 선수를 상대로 얼마만큼 연구를 했고 얼마만큼 자신이 있는지.
연구를 하려고 좀 찾아봤는데 그 최근에 윤용태 선수랑 한 거밖에 없더라고요. 그래서 그거밖에 정보가 없어서 그냥 모르겠어요.
I try to research as much as I can about Snoot. The latest game he played was in the Pro League against Free from Hongjin Stars. So that was the only game. So I couldn't find anything else. So I didn't prepare a lot.
All right, well, I'm super excited for this match. I hope you guys are too. It's time to begin with the winner's match, where the winner, again, will move on to the round of 8. Gentlemen, let me ask you to shake hands. Best of luck. And guys, stay tuned, because coming up next, we're going to have the winner's match between Alicia and Snoot. You're watching the round of 16 of WCS America. Don't go anywhere.